Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, episode number 77. And I'm back from my travels, my honeymoon. Great to be back. I've made it back safely. There's just me and you tonight, James. Are you there, James?
I'm here, mate. Yeah. Ben's now off sunning himself, isn't he?
That's it. As one returns, the other one leaves. You know how it is.
Spend some time with you.
So,
We can make it if we try.
you know how it goes, James.
You just got married, Tony. I'm not available.
Anyway, I picked up that trick from you guys when I were off on the listening to the podcast, and a few little I heard a bit of a rocky theme for Connor and stuff like that. So I thought I'd introduce everyone more. But yeah, great to be back. First off, big thanks to all the new patrons. Obviously, I've not said this because I've been off for a couple of weeks, but yeah, big thanks to everyone that signed up and is supporting us. And welcome to new patron, Steve Baker from this week. Cheers, thanks for your support. Hope you're enjoying all the perks. It's really good to be back, and obviously, big thanks to you, James, for taking over the editing for the 2 weeks. I know we had quite a few issues and stuff, but you smashed through it. So the pods were good. So
cheers, Tony.
Flying colours and all that stuff. And now there's two of us that can do the dirty work. So
yeah,
all good. Yeah. So while I've been sunning it, you've all been balls deep into this into the start of this season. I've not watched much football. I won't lie. Once I got back yesterday afternoon, first thing I did was get the football on for the late game yesterday, which were Arsenal Bournemouth, which were our first game I've seen live, other than the Championship games that had started a week previously to me leaving. And obviously I watched the games today. I tried to catch up on a few highlights as well, just to try and get into a bit of nitty-gritty. I'm pretty happy with how I've started because we're not watching much and not knowing too much what's going on. Obviously, I listened to both pods and I've basically let you guys guide me a little bit. So anyway, we'll start with your team. James, and we'll go through yours before we jump onto mine. So okay. How have you got on this week, pal?
29 points so far, which doesn't sound like a lot, but is a significant improvement on the last couple of weeks. So
yeah.
I stuck with my Tottenham defenders, and they got their first clean sheet of the season, which is nice. I'm hoping Liverpool follow up with their first clean sheet of the season next week. On Monday, and then I might actually have a half decent score. So yeah, in goal I've got Lloris got me 5, Sessegnon got me 5, Cresswell, my new addition for Doherty, who's surprisingly not getting hardly any minutes at all, got me -2. But he still has the chance to redeem himself in midweek against Viborg. So I won't.
Fingers crossed.
I was looking at Pascal Gross, and I was like, should I put him in? And I thought, no, you can't put a Brighton player in there. And he gets star man today. And so I'm like, oh, balls.
Playing well again, aren't they, Brighton?
They're doing well, yeah. I've got some Sanchez in quite a few of my in my teams, and he's ticking away. He's a nice cheap keeper. Yeah. So yeah, I've got Trent and Robbo to play tomorrow. In midfield, Dewsbury Hall got me. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. Dewsbury Hall got me 3. Abuemo got me 3. Doesn't feel right, does it? Kulusevski got me 0. Kane got me 7. Haaland got me 8, and Salah's playing tomorrow. So a slight improvement on the last couple of weeks, but certainly nothing stellar at this stage. One transfer left, by the way.
One transfer left?
Yeah. So I don't, at this stage, know what I'm going to do with that. I'm just keeping it for injuries at the moment. It might be Cresswell out. I don't know, but that seems knee jerky. Or maybe Dewsbury Hall out. But this, scraping the barrel with those player prices, unfortunately.
Do you think you've fell foul to the curse of the podcast team?
What you mean in the similarities between this and the podcast team, or?
No. I mean, that you've nominated
Oh,
this
I
as your
see.
podcast team, and it seems to have a bit of a stinker.
It is pretty much my worst performing team. I wouldn't say any of my teams are doing amazingly, but I've got some teams with nearly double the points of this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be the podcast team curse, Tony.
Yeah.
How's your team doing?
Mine, right. So I'm up on what have I got points wise now? I think it's 116. I think it is in total. This week, Ramsdale got me 5. Zinchenko got me 5. Sessegnon, who was my little diamond at the start of the season, who's done well. Obviously, come on for the 5 points. Hey, take them as they come, don't you?
Yeah,
that's the bonus of having these wing backs. I think with the 5 change rule. So yeah, came on for 5 points, which I'm happy about. He got a goal in the first game, which I'm not being able to cheer about. But he's started all right. I think he's got about 11 points so far this season, which for 2 million is cracking, and price rises to boot. So Robertson and Alexander-Arnold still to play. In midfield, in Boomo, 3 points, another 3 points. He's ticked along nicely since the start, a good enabler. Kulusevski, 0 points, but I'm not too worried about Kulusevski. He's going to be someone who's probably going to stay. I noticed again this week, was it Richarlison come on for Son?
Yeah.
Kulusevski full game. So
that's happened 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about his minutes. With the way he opened the season as well, on fire. So I'm not bothered about him whether he goes down 0.1, whatever. Saka, 3 points, which I'm happy about. I'm a little bit worried about Saka. I think we'll come on to that in the questions a bit later on. But yeah, he got me 3 points this week. Haaland, 8 points. Could have been more. Definitely could have been more. He could have had a couple more today. But that just shows his ceiling is so high. Even if he don't touch the ball more than 5 times. He was involved a lot more today, which was good to see. After watching the highlights of do you have about 3 touches in the Bournemouth game? Something silly?
Yeah, in the last game he had I think it was 7 or 8 or something like that.
Crazy.
But he was still getting in good positions. It was just one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. Kane, 7 points, and Jesus, 4 points. So I think it was 40 for the week. I think it's on 116. I'll just double check that before.
Well, that's pretty good going, Tony. Since you've not been watching any football, and have not been following it closely. That's
me on the beach. Mate. That.
Hey,
what they say about players are on the beach. That was me. I've been on the beach, haven't I? Yeah, I'm happy enough because usually in the podcast team, it has the curse and it usually dies a little bit of a death. 116, it's a steady start. It's probably the only team that I've not gone that heavy on the transfers. I've got some teams. I've got 3 or 4 left. This is one of them. I've got 3 transfers left in this team. My better scoring teams, I've probably used more transfers. So I think that just goes with the territory, spending a few transfers to chase a bit. The change they made in this team was Sancho out very quickly to Kulusevski. First off for the price rise and for the fact that United have basically not carried any form pre-season into the season and look back like United as you were kind of thing. Kulusevski picked up from last season, so they were a no-brainer. So I'm glad I left the 0.5 million in the bank from when we first did our drafts. And then Nunez, who had a great start to the season, gets a red card. So that was a no-brainer to jump off Nunez to Jesus. And take the price rise, and I mean, Jesus could have absolutely filled his boots again at weekend. Arsenal were brilliant. Arsenal look very, very good. I know we've done a lot of Arsenal bashing on this pod, but I tell you what, he's got something going there now. Arteta. I like the rhythm they seem to have through that team. They look good. They look good. And a lot of them Arsenal blocks, because of their cheap defenders that were tipped and stuff. Zinchenko, Saliba, Gabriel were only 3 million, Ramsdale only 3 million. So then big blocks are probably the better sides that are up at the top now. So they've done quite a lot of people a lot of favours. Did you start with any Arsenal blocks?
I did have some heavy Arsenal teams, yeah. I tipped Arsenal as my number one transfer target for August in my Hub article. When I did the strategy article, I put Arsenal as number one to target because they've had such a favourable run of fixtures. The only caveat, I suppose, with Arsenal is because they've had that favourable run, you do wonder if they might not be so great if when they hit some tougher opposition. But I think sometimes you find that these teams build up a head of steam at the start of the season, and then they can carry that on when they play the big hitters. I don't think Arsenal are going to fall off a cliff when they get some tough fixtures. They look much better this year. They've got options as well, haven't they? I mean, that Vieira only came on. That new guy that they've got in midfield, they've got defensive cover. They're looking a lot more balanced this year, and I think they're going to have a good season. Yeah,
because obviously they've started with Ben White at right back, which has allowed Saliba to play at centre half, which obviously is. So they've not missed Tomiyasu yet, because obviously Ben White's done a decent job at right back.
Yeah,
I mean. So now Tomiyasu's back, who came on. Tierney came back on, didn't he, as well? So that's the cover at left back, which could see Zinchenko push forward as well. And
actually,
Thomas Partey's looking the deal.
Tierney came on and played ahead of Zinchenko, strangely enough.
Well,
in the last game. So
I wonder whether that would be an interchange thing, because I mean Tierney, he's a great attacking left back. I mean, that's what he did up at Celtic, didn't he? He's renowned for his assists and stuff. So, yeah, that could be something that's interesting watching that going forward. But like you said, they've got so many options. Exciting times. I bet Arsenal fans will get excited about it. And as a touch on the fixtures, they've got Fulham, Aston Villa, Man United. Then obviously they've got the Europa League. Then Everton, Europa League, Brentford, then Tottenham, then Europa League before October.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still, they've got such a nice run through to October. I think any Arsenal blocks are rubbing their hands, not just for value, but I think for points as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where my team is. The value of this team is 51.9. Even some of the other sides that have started quite well, I've still chased a bit of value, so I've used, say, 3 or 4 transfers just to pull up on those 0.3s. And anybody who's had a big haul, obviously like Jesus had a nice haul, and De Bruyne did himself. I chased De Bruyne a little bit this week in a couple of my teams because his price could quickly get completely out of reach.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of juggling to get De Bruyne in a couple, but yeah, as I say, with this team, 3 transfers left, 0.8 million in the bank, 51.9 million value of the team. I'm happy enough with it. There's nothing I really want to touch there. Even Sessegnon, 5 points, he's up in value again this week. Crazy.
Good option, yeah, definitely. I'm keeping Sessegnon for sure.
Yeah, as well as soon as the the European games kick in, I think you'll get more time as well. So, from there's our teams. Did Ben send a voice clip in, James, or did he do a bit of me and lose track of that by being out pissed in Fuerteventura?
He texted a minute ago and said, I lost track of time. Do you still want me to do it? And I said, no, go ahead, just enjoy your holiday, mate. So he hasn't sent us a voice note.
That's the same as me.
Yeah.
I was getting gradually more drunk during the day. Then I lost the time, and yeah, I didn't send in a voice clip, but there you are. There's my team.
Just how much beer did you drink on this holiday, Tony? It sounds like you were getting ratted every day.
Oh, well, I mean, it's rude not to, isn't it? You go out for dinner, sun's shining, it's 35 degrees. You need a bit of lager just to wet the whistle. So, yeah, I probably had 2 days out of 14 where I hadn't had a drink.
Yeah.
And I weren't meant to drink the day before I was travelling home. I weren't meant to drink at all. No, sorry, I tell a lie. I said I'll have a few drink day, and then I won't drink at night because obviously I'm travelling back early morning and it's a long drive.
Yeah.
So won't bother. So I had a few drink day, and then next thing you know is that one of the pubs that we've been going to a few times, we made friends with some French locals, and they had a karaoke night on.
Oh God!
Next thing you know, 10:30, I'm there singing Stevie Wonder "Superstitious" with a live French band behind me. And the rest is history.
If there's any video footage of that, you can safely send it to me. I won't share it or doctor it or do anything with it.
Not a problem. It's not going anywhere. But yeah, it were all good. Right, listeners' questions. Connor, resident blogger Connor, sitting comfortably on 3 transfers in most teams right now. I'm away next weekend, so I can't access my phone to do any transfers, so the next time I'll use them is the Thursday before the transfer reset. Who are your guys' favourite players' teams to target for next month? P.S. It'd be nice to listen to the pod without my voice this week, and welcome back, Tony. Cheers, Con, and just nice one for jumping into the hot seat the other week. You did well, mate. So, James, who are you fancying?
Well, do you know what? I had a look at the fixture ticker earlier today and started analysing the fixtures in September, and it's gone from all the big hitters having good fixtures pretty much this month to a real mixed bag next month. So I mean, Liverpool playing Chelsea away, City have got Spurs and United, West Ham have got Chelsea away. You know, there's no one with a set of green on their fixture ticker by any stretch. I would expect the heavy hitters to still be the picks for next month. I don't think any particular team stands out in terms of fixtures. I'll be picking players on form and the usual big hitters. I think no one in particular that comes to mind.
I just reiterate what I said about Arsenal. I think out of everybody, Arsenal have the nicest thing. I know there's a big block of red there for the United fixture, but I'll tell you what, the way they're playing, Arsenal are absolutely hammering them. So I think Arsenal probably have the most favourable, which is United, Everton, Brentford, and then Spurs right at the beginning of October before the next transfers. Arsenal players to target. I mean, I've just got KDB, Jesus. Martinelli's really impressed me. If he keeps starting on that left-hand side, it looks really dangerous. And I think that's what's taken away from Saka. I think we'll touch on that a little bit later on. And a guy I spoke about at the start of the season, Odegaard, and he had a great performance, and he did score a couple. Whether that's going to continue, I'm not too sure. I know Connor was saying about him being the assister of the assister at the start of the season, and I had him in about 2 or 3 teams because he was cheap. I took him out after that because I did a bit of digging, and Connor probably he had it right with that is how it is.
Yeah.
But then with the captain's armband, just for me, I was thinking minutes, 5 transfers. You don't usually rip your captain off the pitch, and I just thought he's so creative, Odegaard. But anyway, the rest is history. He had a good weekend.
What do you think of United's chances now that they've signed? They've finally got a defensive midfielder, because obviously they've been crying out for one for years. Casemiro is he's 30 now, but he is still a top player. What do you think? How do you think that affects their chances? Is he going to be that player that transforms them, or is there too much rot there for one player to turn it round?
I think there is a lot of rot there. I think we've spoke about it so many times, haven't we? About there's something fundamentally wrong with United, obviously Ten Hag, he's not a bad manager. And obviously, he's somebody who built the Ajax side full of young good players and built a real team chemistry and stuff like that. And it's not going to happen overnight, but they had a really good pre-season, which have probably blinded a few people to the problems that still exist there. And you've got a £90 million defender who has never looked that price tag since coming back from was it the World Cup with England. I think you've got Ronaldo who does he want to be there? Does he not want to be there? I don't know. You've got so much talent. You have got a lot of talent in that squad, but they just do not seem to be a team at all. Yeah. Is a defensive midfielder from the Spanish league going to solve all their issues? No. Is it going to help? He's a top player, but is the speed of the Premier League going to catch him out? We don't know.
Point. Yeah, good point, Tony.
He's untested over here. He's 30-year-old. I don't know what they're going to do at United. I think they probably need to get relegated and reset. No, in all seriousness, there's so many problems. But look how much talent's there. It's just, like you say, it's just rotting away.
Yeah.
McTominay, I tell you what, so obviously Casemiro McTominay is probably going to step aside, and he's not a bad player, McTominay. He's all right. Is he good enough for a top Champions League side? Probably not, but is he the issue? No, I wouldn't say so. They've got a very weak underbelly, United. Weak underbelly.
There aren't many players that can play that holding midfield role on their own. Fabinho does it for Liverpool.
He's brilliant.
There aren't many players to do it. Apparently, Casemiro, I wouldn't profess to be an expert on him, but apparently he can do that, and that might allow Bruno Fernandes and Eriksen to play alongside him in that midfield. Because when they had Fred and Eriksen and Fernandes, clearly that didn't work because they got thrashed 4-0. But it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. It might make a difference. It probably isn't going to turn them into world beaters overnight, like you say.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to do any harm. I just think, there's players like Kante, like you say, Fabinho at Liverpool, Kante at Chelsea. Kante did it at Leicester as well. Just unbelievable, like the interceptions, the tackles, recoveries. They do that so many times within a game. It can absolutely turn a game on its head. But they've got so many problems. Hopefully it helps them. Hopefully it does. By the time he's over here, match fit, and he's in that side, United assets might be under 2 million.
They could be, yeah. Pound shop shopping, won't it? Basically,
we'll literally be picking them off. Yeah, people like Fernandes, Eriksen. The quality there is staggering. Even Ronaldo, if he stays, goal scorers. Yeah, tricky one. Right, Aman has been on the Discord. With 2 weeks of info, has a better understanding of price changes change your transfer strategy at all? What do you reckon, James?
Well, I'll be totally honest, and I don't quite understand the question because I don't think anything radical's changed this season in terms of price changes from last season. So maybe I've misread read the question, but
I think what I've noticed so initially on my first say week or two of obviously people underperforming, and then you're thinking shite. If he goes down zero point 0.3, he goes up zero point 0.3, which was usually the case. It was very volatile last year. I think the rises have been probably as you were, but the falls haven't been as heavy. So I think a player, say, I don't know, who did Sancho play at first with game week? Or say he played Brentford. I mean, usually be expected to get a 5 or an 8. He gets a 0, so usually go back down 0.2, 0.3.
yeah.
But I think the players have been surviving just going down on 0.1.
Okay, yeah, no, I
So
suppose the drops have been not quite as aggressive as last year.
yeah, which in a way alters the mindset in that it's had an effect on me. I won't be as aggressive to take a player who hasn't performed that week out. I'm more likely to give someone a chance, I think.
Yeah, and there is talk on our Discord that if the player does well the game before the one he's just played, that also has an impact on his price rise as well.
Yeah,
So it's almost like they're averaging the score over a rolling we think 2 weeks.
yeah,
So yeah, so if someone like Mbuemo scores a goal like he did the other day and then gets a 0, the following week he's much less likely to drop because the rolling average, if you like, is higher. I mean, obviously we're just speculating; we don't really know, but that's what
yeah,
a few people have been speculating. That's how it's working this year.
yeah. It's going to be interesting watching it go further forward. I won't be affecting my transfer strategy. I'll always chase the best players, and it comes on a week where obviously one's done well, one hasn't. I'll probably go for him maybe sooner, but I'm probably less likely to drop somebody as quick
Yeah,
this season. Now I've seen the first couple of weeks.
that's probably is a good thing for the
I
price
think
falls, isn't
so.
it? Because it means you're not almost forced in. You might feel under a lot more pressure to get rid of a player thinking he's going to drop when
Yeah,
it sort of smooths it out a little bit. So if that is the case, then I think that's a good thing. It doesn't.
yeah,
It's not quite as crazy. You only get 5 transfers a month. You don't really
yeah.
want to be spending them chasing price rises or avoiding price falls, do you? So yeah, no, it's something to think about. I will try and factor that into my own strategy going forward. So it's a good question.
Yeah, I think maybe Dream Team just being a bit more sensible with the price falls because you could have, say, for example, Spurs win 4-0 against somebody. Harry Kane got 3, Son got 1. Kulusevski didn't have any goal involvement, and he didn't quite make it to a 7 rating. But Spurs won 4-0, but then he's going to drop 0.3 million because he never made it onto a rating. I think that's how volatile it probably was the last year.
Yeah,
Pretty much, like if you didn't get a rating, you were done for. And maybe does that tie in with how stringent they're being with these 7 ratings this year because they seem all over the place. There's been
well, yeah,
some
that's
very
another topic
strange
altogether, isn't it?
ratings.
There's
It
been some
is,
odd ratings. Players conceding loads of goals and still getting sevens.
yeah,
It seems I can't quite put my finger on it, but it just seems a little off. They've definitely changed the algorithm. I know a lot
yeah,
of people are talking about it.
yeah, definitely.
There's been a few surprises, hasn't there?
I mean, for example, so are they going that deep there? So Nick Pope today, he made quite a few worldy saves.
Yep.
Um, He's conceded 3. Could he do out about the 3 goals he conceded? Probably not.
No.
They're just as they are. So should he be punished by the goals to his rating when actually he's probably stopped City scoring 7?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, usually it would be if you concede a goal, that's it. Your rating's dropping. And again, and you ended up with a -2, -3.
Yeah.
Well,
So as things stand, Martinez, the Villa keeper, is got 2 Star Man awards, and
he was in our relay team, wasn't he?
he was, yeah. So we've done all right out of that, considering Aston Villa haven't been particularly good.
Come on, Martinez.
Obviously, he's obviously been quite busy in goal, so he's picking up, extra who scored points for that.
Yeah, like save points kind of thing. Save ratings. Another one from Aman here. Sessegnon now looks to be a Spurs sub. Should we take him out? I think I touched on it earlier, Aman. I mean, for me, I wouldn't. Because the amount of rotation you're going to get, especially with Perisic being quite old, and I think Session's fresh legs in it, young lad, European games coming up, he'll be starting one or the other, I would guess. And even in the ones he don't start, I think he'll be quite on. So if they are going to get a clean sheet, he'll be getting them points as well. So for me, I think of that money, another price rise this week after his 5-point cameo, I'd just keep him for the time being. I think if they got Forest and West Ham next up as well, no, he's a leave for me. What do you reckon, James?
Well, first of all, I'd say he's looked a lot better this year. He bulked up in the summer, didn't he? He said he came out and said, I need to stop getting injured so much. So I've been spending a lot of time in the gym. We also know that Perisic was managed by Conte at Inter. He never played, hardly ever. I don't think he ever played 90 minutes. Maybe once. So we know Conte's, penchant for rotating his fullbacks. Sessegnon's going to play virtually every game, and at that price, a definite hold for me.
Yeah, definitely. Right, on to O's on the Discord. Which cheapest keeper is the go-to for the next few weeks, or is the Starman Magnet Martinez one to stick with? James?
Well, Sanchez has been my pick for August, and I think he's done reasonably well. If we're talking about next month, if you look at Newcastle's fixtures, they are pretty decent. They've got Crystal Palace at home, West Ham away, Bournemouth at home, and Fulham away, and he's playing really well. And he's picked up a star man today against City. He's looked. Newcastle, despite conceding 3 goals today, Newcastle have looked a lot better, and they've been solid in their first 2 games. Anyone can concede against City, so I think Pope could be a good option. I'm not convinced by Aston Villa going forwards. I mean, they don't look great. I'm tempted to suggest we move Mahrez out of our relay.
Martinez, get him out there.
What do you think?
I've just got Sanchez at Brighton wrote down. Because for the next few weeks they've got Forest, Leeds, and Fulham, Leicester.
Yeah,
that's the next fixtures. I mean, I could see 4 clean sheets. I know Leeds were pretty impressive today against Chelsea, but we've seen these results flip flopping a lot. And this is why we say don't chase the flavour of the week, because usually it flip flops.
Yeah.
Obviously Chelsea, quite a few people jumped across to the Chelsea assets this week, and they got stung with that defeat off Leeds. Brighton, Forest, Leeds, Fulham, and Leicester pose not much threat to Brighton. I think Brighton are a good side, and they could easily keep at least 2 clean sheets and then 4.
Yeah.
And for the price, I think Sanchez is a great option. In fact, I how many teams have got him in now? I know you started with quite a few, didn't you, James? In fact, Sanchez is in two of my best two and best three sides, and then Nick Pope is the other goalkeeper.
Yeah. I think I've got Sanchez in about 5 or 6 sides,
Yeah,
and I'm quite happy to keep him until I can afford a player that plays in Europe potentially. But that kind of moves nicely into the next question, I think.
yeah. We'll touch on that then. Perhaps opposite to Old's question, is using a remaining August transfer to get to a Euro goalkeeper a good idea where possible? And if so, which goalkeepers in European sides do you think will play both weekends and midweek, and which are the rotation risks?
Mm.
What do you reckon then, James?
Well, as we've seen historically, I can't see any sides rotating their keepers in the Champions League, and unless of course they win the first 3 or 4 games and then they're through. So we'll say that there's a good chance Champions League keepers will not be rotated. In the Europa League, I'm not sure, because previously United have had the likes of Henderson, and Arsenal had the likes of Leno, but they don't anymore. United's backup keeper appears to be Tom Heaton, who's 36. So I'm thinking De Gea probably plays in the Europa League, and probably Heaton will get some minutes in the FA Cup or Carabao. But we don't know for sure. Arsenal's backup keeper, now Leno's gone, appears to be Matt Taylor. Apparently he was MLS goalkeeper of the year last year. He's 28, so he's younger, so he might not be content to sit on the bench. So I think there's probably more. I think Arsenal are more likely to rotate on that basis, but this is all speculation, of course. In Europa League, I'm convinced that West Ham will rotate their goalkeepers, because they've done that before. So I would be if you want a goalkeeper playing in Europe, avoid West Ham. So I'm going to say I'm not going to recommend the goalkeeper, because I'm going to say wait for the European draws on Thursday and Friday. So Champions League's on the Thursday, Europa League's on Friday. Wait for the draws, see what the fixtures look like. I mean, any one of the top guys, Alisson and Ederson, obviously the premium options. And Mendy, despite Chelsea's capitulation today, would still be a good option, and he is a bit cheaper as well. We've got to remember that. So I don't know.
Mendy might as well have back-heeled that goal at his own net.
Well, he thought he was Ederson, didn't he? He's not Ederson.
No,
he shouldn't be doing that. It's crazy.
Crazy. I was just wondering whether you've been reading my notes down here. Because I've literally got
the notes, Tony, because they're handwritten.
If you want to, Ederson, Alisson are obviously probably the most nailed. Like, obviously Mendy, then the cheaper option. But I've just basically got here. I don't think it's essential to jump on to that right now. I think I would wait for the first game, and you would then get the inkling of, right, so they're going to play that keeper in Europe, they're going to play that keeper in Europe, and then make the decision for the second game, for the second double game week, and go from there. I don't think it's, with a keeper, obviously their ceiling's so low anyway, it's not going to harm you just to wait for that extra bit of information for that week.
I agree with that, but don't forget we're getting all these keepers with star men so far this season. We've got Henderson with star man. We've got Martinez and Pope. They're all picking up the star man awards. What's going on, Tony?
It's true. Harry Kane and the likes need to put more goals past him, don't they?
Yeah. Well, it must be. I don't know. Maybe again that is down to the rating system, and we need to keep an eye on that, because. If goalkeepers are going to suddenly be getting star man every week, then we probably need to pay a bit more attention to that position.
Yeah, I'll be getting Bournemouth keeper, whoever gets peppered every week.
Yeah,
Because it seems like whoever makes the most saves getting the.
Probably want the Everton keeper, don't you?
Martinez conceded 3 goals.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
know.
not? Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
He did save a penalty though, so and he did. I
Mm.
saw the highlights of Match of the Day. It did look like he had a bit of a blinder, because that Villa defence is not looking good.
No, it isn't. I think it's a little bit upset. They're obviously taking Tyrone Mings' captaincy off him and then dropping for his couple. Yeah.
Well, of course, the guy they brought to shore up the defence is out for the season, or is out for a long time at least, with an ACL, isn't he?
Oh, fuck.
So they're back to
Tyrone
Mings
Mings.
and House, or Courtney House, is it?
Yeah, Courtney House or Konza. Is Konza still there?
Konsa, yeah, Konsa's the second. Is the other centre back, isn't he? Yeah.
Right, here's a big question. Who are the standout cheap and early viewers from Tomo? If Liverpool concede again, we'll be looking to move off the defenders. And where are the bargains amongst the clubs competing in Europe? So we'll go to the first. Standout cheap enablers. What do you reckon, James?
I would go for Mbuemo. He's done well so far. Scored a goal, got a couple of 7 ratings. I mentioned him briefly earlier. Pascal Gross might be an option. That's my 2 cheapy picks. I've got some more in the other category of bargains amongst European clubs.
I've literally got all of Arsenal wrote down here. You look at like Saliba, Martinelli, Odegaard. You can go on Gabriel, even Zinchenko at his price still. They're all so you go to pound per million. Jesus, so cheap. What he's doing so far. But just for cheap, very cheap enablers, I'll just give a big shout to Ben because I know he spoke about this guy at the start of the season. I don't know if it went missing on the podcast, but Jensen from Brentford at 1 million. It had an absolute worldie game against United. And then he followed it up with another assist this week. 1 million. He already rose to 1.3 million. I get he might sneak up another 0.1, and we got an assist. I don't think he quite got a 7 rating, but I know he got an assist. So, yeah, Matt, big shout to you, Ben, if you're listening for Ventura. Great shout at Jensen at Brentford. Yeah. Sessegnon and Boomo, they're the cheap options. They're doing well at the minute as well. A lot of these enablers, so they're the lads. So the second part then, James, if Liverpool concede again, will you looking to move off the defenders?
I'm going to still hold them because they have Bournemouth and Newcastle at home, followed by a toothless Everton. So I think you'd be crazy to jump off them, unless the only caveat I would add to that is if they get more defensive injuries. Gomez is I've heard Gomez is going to play tomorrow on Monday against United. So as things stand, we've got Matic out and obviously Kanate. If Gomez, who is made of glass by the way, if he got injured or Van Dijk was out or something like that, then I might reconsider. But looking at those fixtures, I wouldn't be taking out my Liverpool defenders just yet.
No. Obviously, big prices, aren't they? Like Alexander-Arnold, 6.5. Robertson. Yeah. And it's big money that you've got left in at the back.
We've seen this
in most teams, I think.
We've seen this before, Tony. Liverpool don't get a couple of clean sheets near the start of the season. Everyone jumps off them, and then they go on a run for like 10 games.
It's true, mate. It's true. I think I put it in the Discord earlier about I've been a little bit more aggressive this season with the move to De Bruyne on the back of probably being a little bit slow to jump on the Liverpool backline last season.
Yeah.
Because like you said, so they start with a couple of stinkers, but then they had such a massive run of clean sheets, and if you didn't jump on it at some point, you were left behind.
Yeah.
So it can turn around quickly. I just looking at my teams, I've got quite a few with Trent and Robbo the main dangers. Gomez, I like Gomez, he's a good player. Like I say, it's just a shame he is. I think he's been to the same school as Antonio, but hopefully he's sorted himself out.
If he gets a run in the team, I mean, if he stays fit, I could see him keeping that place.
Yeah, he's a very talented player.
He's a decent defender, but trouble is Matip has been so good, and he can step out of defence and ping balls in, and he's been scoring goals. So I think Matip's the one that's difficult to dislodge, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. And where are the bargains amongst the clubs competing in Europe?
Well, I've got Saliba and Martinelli, who you've mentioned. I've got. Am I allowed to? I don't know what the budget is for this, but I would say Cucurella at Chelsea is a bargain at at least 3.1 now.
Yeah.
Harvey Elliott might prove to be a bargain. Gundogan is only 4.1 at the moment. He's got a couple of goals now. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at him in the next week or two. Perisic might be an option for Spurs, even though he's a midfielder in Dream Team. Got 10 points, star man this week. I would also say keep an eye on Scamacca for West Ham. He's only 2.6 million. If you want a cheaper enabler forward, then he might prove to be a good buy at some point. He looks decent, but obviously that's a keep an eye on it. Don't jump on him just yet, I would say.
Yeah, I think West Ham need to wake up a little bit, don't they? Just touching on West Ham, I did do a couple of gambles. Obviously, I missed my Sancho to Bowen transfer. I missed, probably because I was getting pissed out in the sun. But I did miss it. It frustrated me because obviously after the price changes, anyway. So he wanted me top sides. Ended up with Maxwell Cornet at the value. I think he was 2.5 million at the time. I put him in. And he got an assist midweek in the what is it? Papa John's.
The Papa John's EuroLeague. Yeah. Are you telling me you've put an ex-Burnley player in one of your sides, Tony?
Yeah, yeah. I know. It hurt me at the time. I must have been pissed, but he got me a 2. And then I know that they were a bit of a thingy about the ratings, weren't they? Didn't quite update properly, did they? They were doing the minus whatever shite again.
They didn't actually update the ratings until like mid-afternoon the following day, and everyone was on Twitter going crazy about it. And everyone was like, "Oh, they won't change the prices, and that even if they fix the ratings, it's still not right." Blah blah blah. They did actually do the price rises because Scamacca went up in price because he scored a goal.
Right, so all followed suit then.
Well, there's still some people complaining that Bowen should have got a higher rating, and therefore he might have gone up in price as well, which he didn't.
Yeah.
So not everyone's happy. They did. At least Dream Team didn't just ignore it. They did actually do something with it. They didn't reply to my question asking about it, which was a bit annoying. But there you go. They did actually fix it though, to a degree. Hopefully, for the next game, they won't leave it till lunchtime the next day because people get annoyed about things like that, which is understandable.
I think last season it put me off putting any players in that were in the Papa John's league.
Yeah,
because if you're not going to get, even if your player scores 2 goals, you're not going to get a star man or a 7 rating, then it just takes away from the potential. So, good to see him updated. And hopefully it's a little bit quicker, a little bit more slick next time. But yeah, going on to the players in Europe, you covered both, man. Cucurella down, even after today's performance. Good player, Cucurella. So dangerous. He probably could have scored a couple today. But his shooting were a little bit wayward. And Gundogan. We've had a few Gundogan trains, haven't we? In the last few years.
It depends on where where Pep plays, and me and Ben talked about this last week. one slight tactical change, and he can go from a good option to Gundo Wank, Tony.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, hopefully there's enough options there for you, Tomo. Yeah. So our mate Lee Hooper has been on. Never been in this position before, where my best teams seem quite settled and have 5-4 transfers left. Do I need to start making changes based on nicking a bit of value, even if there are sideways moves, or can I potentially just let transfers go to waste? Now, I had never ever thought I'd ever hear this from Lee's mouth. He's got between 4 and 5 transfers left. There's cup games around the corner. There's, but yeah, go on. What do you reckon, James?
Well, Lee's a changed man this year. He's started
He
well.
definitely is.
He's not been making any crazy knee-jerk moves or anything. And he seems to his bad luck has seemed to turn around. I'd say it was quite rare to have a team that can't be improved at all.
Yeah.
If you really can't use your transfers, you should be looking at next month to set up for next month, basically. And if you can get on a rise at the same time, all well and good. I think if you still don't want to change your team, if you've got more than one left, you can do a 1 week punt with it. So you can bring a player in that's got one good fixture. You probably don't want him longer term, but you've got another transfer, take him back out again. If you really, got no other options, and if there are really no moves, then you can burn them. But I did that twice last year with my best team. But it is quite rare to say you can't improve at all or do something with those transfers, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. You're reading off my own sheet, James. Plan for September. There's no harm in burning. Obviously, don't take players out just for the sake of it, but if you can, plan for September and try for a couple of price rises in the meantime as it goes. The players that you want for September, then happy days. So if you see an opportunity where that's something I want for the next 6 weeks, he's about to go up this week, get him in and use a little bit of restructuring.
It's actually a nice position to be in, isn't it? To have that. I wish I'd looked at my teams and think, oh, do you know what? I'm really happy with that. I can't see anything to improve it. I'd love that. Unfortunately, I could do with more transfers this year so far.
Like I say, you're in a good position, Lee, and don't feel the pressure from that. I think you should really just kick back and just enjoy being in that position, because a lot of people have used a lot of transfers and you're probably a step ahead. You've had a very good start in a lot of your sides, so plan for September. And if you can here and there improve your team and steal a couple of price rises on your way, and with how well your teams are doing, they're naturally going to increase in price anyway. If you've got a good start in a team, it's going to go up in value in the majority. So, yeah, cracking. It's good to hear that question from Lee. I remember we spoke probably the end of last season, saying, because he had some wrong luck, and said obviously once we hit July, stick with it, be a bit more patient, and there you go, bang, you've nailed it, mate. Right, Fitzy, how long do we give Saka, and any potential replacements would be appreciated? Welcome back, Tony. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. It's good to be back. I probably touched on it earlier about Saka, just a touch. I didn't want to go too deep into it, but he's in 9 of my sides, Saka. He's someone Arsenal obviously started very, very well, and he's on penalties. Unfortunately for Saka, they've not got any penalties.
We think he's on penalties, but
true.
We're not 100% sure, are we? Because obviously, Jesus. Some people might say Jesus might be taking, but to be fair, Jesus wasn't great at City taking penalties, was he? So I think there's a good chance Saka's still on penalties.
Yeah, I would hope so for my 9 teams' sake. But how would we give him? They've got such good fixtures coming up. and it's feeling a little bit like Amara's situation for me, where I'll probably take him out a few just to take a little bit of value back out of him to spread it around elsewhere. But I won't be making any knee jerk. In a better sides, he'll probably stay in until this good run of fixtures has ended, because you got to play fixtures, and they've got the fixtures. So, what do you reckon, James?
Well, there's two ways of looking at it. One is that Connor's point of view from the other day. He's of the opinion that when Tomiyasu comes back into the side on a more full-time basis, and that's questionable whether that will happen, of course, because Ben White's done pretty well. He thinks that will free Saka up a bit more. And he might be right. But if you look at Saka's stats, his XG so far for this season is 0.13, and his XA, his expected assist, is 0.18. That's not good.
No,
that's across the season. Isn't good. I would be tempted to move to Gundogan in that price bracket. Possibly Diaz if you can afford a little bit more. Because Diaz might step up now that Nunes is out suspended. Somebody's going to have to score the goals for Liverpool. It might be Salah. It could well be Diaz. So I would probably take him out of most of my teams if it was me. I've watched Arsenal play. Most of their attacks seem to be coming down the left.
Yeah,
that might change, of course, but
completely agree.
So
with that, like I say, I watched Arsenal yesterday. The first game I've watched since coming back from holiday, and Saka was as good as Arsenal looked and as dangerous as he looked. It wasn't coming from Saka's side at all. And it does worry me a little bit, but then sometimes you think, is that the way Bournemouth were? Is that the way that game went with Bournemouth? Were they weaker down that side? Did Saka have a better foe against him? It was the left back of Bournemouth a better players? They targeted Martinelli to Jesus, and you don't know how the game. Obviously, every game is a tactical battle between teams, and maybe next one Saka's absolutely got the rinsing of some left back from wherever they're playing next, and you don't know. And then it's the penalty thing as well. Like, obviously now we know Haaland's on penalties at City. It changes things. So Saka, obviously, if he's not on penalties, he's gone.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, for that value, that money, he's gone. Until I know that, I've got him in my. It's easy to say a fewer sides get rid of him, but I don't want that Mahrez moment, and I'm going to hold up just for a little bit.
Well, like you said, with Fulham and then Villa up next, and then Man United, they're not exactly. He could well get some points there, couldn't he?
I mean, you got 3 points this week. I don't know how, because Martinelli got 0, and I thought, well, Martinelli probably. I mean, maybe it was because he missed his chances or whatever else, but I thought Martinelli looked a hell of a lot more dangerous and a lot more involved.
Yeah.
So another strange rating, I suppose. We have to work this algorithm out quite quickly. Yeah, it's a good question, Fitzy, and I don't know how many teams you've got him in, mate, but I'd probably just balance it out, take him out of a few and spread his value, and keep him in some. You won't want to take him out of all of them and get stung by a Saka brace or a Saka hat-trick the week after. Right, Andy Boyne. Firstly, welcome back, Tony. Cheers, Andy. Appreciate it, mate. After three game weeks in 4. Question 1. There's 4 of these. Question 1. Which 3 players do you think will score the most points by the World Cup break? Where's my sheet? Here we go. Right, Andy, I'll answer that first. 19 games to the European sides. There's only 14 for the non-Euro teams before the World Cup break. So I'd say it comes from that pool.
Yeah, definitely.
And my 3 are probably ones with better fixtures, I'd say. Jesus, who looks absolutely unbelievable at Arsenal. Haaland and KDB.
Interesting. I agonised about whether to put Jesus in. I haven't. I've gone for Kane, Haaland, and KDB. So very similar to yours.
Very close.
Yeah.
Second question. Which 3 players do you think will rise most in value from their starting price by the World Cup break? I changed it up a little bit here because obviously the higher the value, the less likely you are to rise in price. So you need bigger things. So I've actually gone Gundog on the basis that if he carries on playing the position he is, which he keeps finding himself many a time in that box, he's going to be mopping up a lot there, and he's a dangerous player. And his value, like 4 million, is it 4.1?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He's got the potential to be a 5.5 million player.
Yeah.
So he's one to watch. Jesus obviously is still at 5.3. If he just carries on, being the pinpoint of all them Arsenal attacks and scoring goals, he's going to end up a £7 million player, just like the Salahs and the Kanes. And then Martinelli, who was so cheap, but seems to be starting for Arsenal, and so dangerous for Arsenal as well, in a very good attack. It seems to have quite a good understanding between the lot of them up there. I think he's got a potential to grow back quite a lot of money. Who do you reckon, James?
Yeah, well, I wrote down here something similar to yourself on the basis that cheaper players will probably rise quicker. I've gone for Martinelli, Saliba, and Rodrigo.
Yeah, well, I mean, Leeds, impressive today.
They did look
I'd
good.
say it's the Leeds Rodrigo you're on about, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying I'd bring in Rodrigo, but the question was who's going to
what
rise the
value?
most. He's I think he's 2.5, something like that. He's down as a striker. His XG, his numbers are great. You know, XG, etc. Yeah,
He was a good goal scorer in Spain.
yeah, he looks like a new player this season, but it's still early days, of course. But I'm sure some people might chuckle at that one, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, get a few freak results and stuff like that, don't you, early doors. But
Yeah.
we'll see if Leeds can continue that, because they look good today. Look very good to Leeds. Question 3. Which 2 teams do you think will score the most goals by the World Cup break? James?
Well, it's probably going to be the most boring answer ever, but I'm going to go City and Liverpool. I don't think you could. There's a case to be argued for Arsenal. They seem to be free scoring this year, but they haven't really faced any real tough fixtures yet. So I'm going to say it's still going to be City and Liverpool.
I'm going on the basis that Arsenal still aren't going to face anybody tough until a long time. So I'm going City and Arsenal.
Okay.
And I think that Nunes red card hurts Liverpool.
Yeah.
He's not really fluent, and I don't. Diaz is such a good player. Is the balance the same as when Mane was there, or are they struggling? Is Salah struggling? Because the ball's probably going more to him now. I think they're probably going more down that side. Diaz is a proper workhorse. There's nothing. There's so much talent up there. It don't matter. They're all going to score goals. So I'm not slagging any player of Liverpool off. I'm just saying, with Mane gone, are they going to be as fluent and as potent as they was last season? The early signs are they probably just need to work on it a little bit. It's probably like the City and the Haaland thing. They need to work to Nunes' strengths and even Diaz to a degree. Because obviously Diaz is a different player to Mane.
I get where you're coming from. I would say there's actually a stronger argument to say that the lack of creativity in midfield in Liverpool's midfield could be the thing that hampers them. Without Thiago in there, we're looking at a little bit bereft of ideas. Whether Elliot can step up and be that man that provides the spark, possibly. Still young though.
I'd love to see him
I would
sit
love to
behind
see
them
it, of
three.
course. Yeah.
Definitely. You play a two with Fabinho and I don't know Henderson, and just let Elliot sit behind the front three and feed him.
What about Spurs? I know they haven't. Obviously, they finished in the last quarter of the season. They were the top scoring team. So,
Yeah.
any thoughts on Spurs whilst we're here? Because I'm sure some people would still have them down. Their front three, or front four, if you like, with Richarlison now. Apparently, he said he will play a front four at times.
Yeah.
They should be in the conversation, shouldn't they?
Definitely. I mean, so much talent up front.
Yeah.
They're going to score goals, and I think it's so easy to get swayed week by week about one performance and stuff like that. And obviously, Chelsea had them on the ropes, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, well, Spurs aren't that great, are they? Or so, but every game's different, and yeah, Spurs could score freely, very much so. They could go on a run and score a hell of a lot of goals. So they definitely deserve to be in the argument.
I'll tell you one team that I didn't consider, and that was Chelsea. That I don't think they don't look like they're going to blow away sides. They didn't look like that most of last season. They'll get the odd freak result where they win 4-5-0, but without a central, is Sterling a number 9? I don't think so. I think he'd be better on the playing on the left. I think they need a focal point. I suppose they might get that if Aubameyang comes in. So that's one to watch.
I think they're struggling because even Havertz is obviously they're forcing Havertz to play as number 9, and he's a tall lad, Havertz, and he does his best up against these centre halves and stuff. But half the time, I think it takes away from what he's about because he's finding himself just being battered around a lot.
Yeah,
because his centre halves are big lads, and I just think that isn't his game, and he's filling. There's never really playing off the forward line. Whereas Havertz, he scored a lot of goals at Leverkusen. He created a lot of goals as well, and that was usually bursting through into the box, either past the forward line or he would always from behind it.
Yeah,
it's very strange they've gone and spent 63 million on Cucurella. He's a very, very good left back, and it's a very good investment from Chelsea. Don't get me wrong, but you've got Ben Chilwell, and Alonso for that matter, that could do that job.
Yeah.
Why are you not spending 63 million and getting 40, 50 million pounds worth of a goal scorer?
I don't know. I do think Cucurella is a good buy. Because, he said that he doesn't want all the pressure. Tuchel said that he doesn't want all the pressure on Chilwell to have to play every week because he's coming back from an injury, etc. Cucurella could fit slot back in on the left of as a left centre back. Obviously, if Fofana comes as well, though, then I suppose every team needs good players to be able to rotate, especially if you're going for several different competitions. It's odd. I mean, you could argue Chelsea had a number 9 last year with Lukaku, and they didn't get the best out of him, did they? So maybe that's not.
Pass the ball to him, would they?
Sorry,
they won't pass the ball to him.
No, that's right. I mean, maybe that's the way. Tuchel doesn't want to play that way. I don't know. But they've been linked with Aubameyang. I suppose Aubameyang's not quite on the last shoulder kind of guy, is he? Or a guy that you pump the ball up to hold it up or whatever. He's got a bit more guile about him, and quite often drifts into sort of the left forward positions. So I just don't see Chelsea scoring a hatful of goals unless they can sort out that their their forward players.
Yeah. Find it strange that a player of the talent of Ziyech, who always looks dangerous when he's on the pitch with his delivery, never gets a game.
Yeah, it's
Whether
bizarre,
he's
isn't
got a stinking attitude or something, there's something going on there.
it? He's desperate.
So
He's desperate to play. He gets so annoyed when he gets hooked off all the time. I mean, last season you had Reece James at right back. There was the question marks about whether you can play an attacking right back like James with Ziyech on the right. But even when Reece James has been right centre back this year, he still hasn't played Ziyech. So I think Ziyech is probably on his way out after they've got a few new additions. I think they're still looking to buy in the transfer market, aren't they? And they've spent good money, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of moves to be made there. Right, which two teams will concede the least goals by the World Cup break? That's question 4. Last one for Andy. Go on, James.
Probably the most boring answer in the world, but I'm going to say City and Liverpool. I think Spurs are in the conversation, but I just don't think the quality of Spurs players are quite as good as City and Liverpool. So yeah, I went with City and Liverpool. What about yourself?
I thought mine were quite strange, seeing as both teams today conceded 3. I went for City and Chelsea.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I know. I think Chelsea could be pretty strong if they get Fofana in as well. Like it looks like that's going to happen. Fofana's been left out. Where else is he going to go? If they stump up 80 million for him, I think that is a hell of a back line, isn't it? I mean, that Koulibaly looks great. Although he got a red card today, I think.
He did.
I missed the last 10 minutes of the game, so he
On
does
match
look
ban.
good though. He's a quality player.
Yeah, definitely. Thiago Silva, as young as ever.
Yeah, he's a different animal, isn't he? To keep playing it at such a high level at his age,
Unbelievable.
Something else, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Fit as a fiddle, that lad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll see how that works out. Hope you write them down, Andy. Right, and the last one is from Aman again. Is Saliba the real deal, and do we need to bring him into our teams? Reckon James.
He looks fantastic to me. He looks a real class player. He reminds me a bit of Van Dijk in some respects. Just calm on the ball. He's the only left. I've said this a couple of times. He's the only left-footed centre back. So it looks like he's nailed on in that side. So he looks fantastic. Get him in at that price.
Yeah, cheap price. I mean, I don't think he'll be curling goals into the top corner every game.
No.
He won't be scoring worldies every week, but he has definitely got a bit of class about him. And at the price he is, obviously going to go up again this week. Probably 0.3. Yeah, he's a very good option. He's got fixtures, form, price. What more do you want? What more do you want from somebody when you want to bring him in? They won't talk anybody out bringing Sleeve in. Right, there's the questions tidied off. Let's go over to the Dream Team Tonic Cash League Top 10. Would you like to give this a read, James?
With pleasure, Tony. In 10th, we've got Arwin Vobe, joint 10th actually, Arwin Vobe and Henry Cartridge. In 9th, we've got Lee Hooper. Joint 7th, we've got Jonathan Perrow and Harry Jones. In 6th, we've got Lee Hooper again. In joint 4th, we've got Dan Bartlam and Matty Blake. In 3rd, we've got Simon Davis. 2nd, R. Connor. And in 1st, Leo Reed.
Happy days. Quite a lot of names we know on there.
Yeah.
On the Patreon.
Matty Blake snuck in there, I see.
Yeah, snuck in. Fair play, Matty Blake. Well done, all there on there. Obviously early days, but some really good starts for you lads. And then over to the DT Tonic Patreon League, top 10. I'll read this one out. In joint 10th, there's 3 of you there: Barry McCormack, Mark Warner, and Jordan Jackson. In 9th, we've got Stephen Broughton. Joint 7th, we've got Martin Brantley and Brian Blackett. Joint 5th, Connor Tobin and Paul Young. In 4th, Wayne Foster Crouch. In 3rd, Jake Bevan. And joint top of the shop is Lee Hooton and Lee Hooper. It's a Lee show at the top. Lee, you're everywhere, mate. Absolutely everywhere. Look at this. He's listened. Anyway, really good to see you up there. Right, over to, for the first time this season, we've got a differential league update. So we all picked our differential players before the start of the season, under 10% owned, t-shirt on the line. So I found something strange here, and I wonder whether you work out what's going on. So the community were who were first picked, sorry. Weren't the community? The community were last pick.
No, the community had last pick because
I had first pick.
Yes, you had first pick. Yeah.
That's it. Because the community leader, Connor, was laughing at me for my pick. Tony had first pick. And I picked Martinelli. He's done all right. 16 points for me. Happy days. Ben? Was Ben second pick?
No, Ben. I think Ben picked after me. So, yeah, fair play to him.
James, you picked second. Mahrez.
I did. Nil point, Tony, as they say in Eurovision. Mahrez, you little bugger.
And then it was Ben, who picked Madison, who gave him a hefty 17 points. Good pick. I didn't think he'd go for one of his own. Then it was Fergie's pick, who in his own words was a boring pick. He went for Matip. Gave him a massive -1.
At least I'm not last. Mahrez might be on 0, but Fergie's on -1 with Matip. I'll take that.
And Connor in the community went for Mount, who got him 6 points. So in 3rd place. Can you see the what do they call it? The connection. Every selection begins with M. Mount, Matip, Mahrez, Madison, Martinelli.
Yeah.
That's strange.
I'm sure that won't happen again because I won't be picking Mahrez anytime soon. Although saying that, he might win the Champions League fixtures, of course.
Yeah, I'm in next month.
That's when Mahrez will come alive, isn't it? He'll get game time in the Champions League, and we'll all get rid of him, and then he'll troll us as he always does.
Definitely. I'm waiting for him to come on today and score a winner, but. Yeah, he didn't even get a sniff, did he? Did he even make a change? Apart from the early sub? Pep, I don't think he did he? One transfer out of his 5? Interesting. It's an interesting one to take note of. I know he made the Ake to Diaz substitution quite early on in the game.
He did, yeah. He never made the hamstring injury by the looks of it.
He never made another sub.
Yeah. I turned it off after about 75 minutes.
Did you miss the KDB pass?
I did, yeah. I shall watch Match of the Day so I can catch up on that.
Unbelievable pass. Yeah, see something we might not. Anyway, that's all for tonight, James.
Cool. Nice one, Tony. Well, I'm glad to have you back, mate. I won't have to spend half my day editing podcasts tomorrow. It's going to be great.
Well, to be fair, I might have to either, mate, because I don't think there's any edits to do. So
I don't think there is it?
no, it's just run perfectly smooth.
Just put it straight out.
Get straight onto Patreon tonight. But yeah, it's great to be back. It's great to be able to sit and chat some Dream Team and be able to sort myself out, get myself settled for next month. Obviously, looking to attack September. So if you've not joined our Patreon yet, you like what you hear, you want a little bit more, and you want to join our Discord and stuff, the website is patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. If you've not seen Connor's blogs, he does an absolute smashing blog, does Connor. DreamTeamTonic.com. Get yourself over there and give Connor's blogs a read. Well worth it. And yeah, it's been a pleasure, James. So next week we should be on with Fergie for the monthly special, transfer special. So I'll see you then, mate.
Cool. Cheers, Tony. I'll see you soon.
Back. See you later, mate.